And happy Halloween to everyone. So today's main call agenda is we'll be talking about starting and maintaining a business or a company on H1B, H4 EAD. So before we get started on the actual call, few housekeeping items. This is Ravi Elicity. I'll be the moderator for today's call, and Ganesh Alpuri will be the co-host, and meeting minutes will be captured by Janardhan Kasala. They are from the BEST team. And also, whoever is not talking, please be on mute. And also, when you are in the Zoom session, have your full name listed so that it will be easy for us to capture. And if you have any questions, we'll get back to you later. And if anyone has any questions during this session, please post that in the Zoom chat session. Okay. So we'll get started, and also let me put this in the presentation mode. Ganesh, you can see now in the presentation mode, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it looks good.
Okay, so we'll get started. Thanks a lot. And it's our privilege to introduce today's call speaker, PK Ram, CPA and founder and owner of Ram Associates. Ram Associates is a tax and accounting firm that has been in the business for past 38 years. And they provide all the tax and financial related services, including tax return preparation, internal audits, bookkeeping, and other tax consultancy services. They also have a couple of branches. They have one branch in Hamilton, New Jersey, and one in Pleasanton, California. And PK Ram sir, thanks a lot for taking your time. I know you have a very busy schedule, and thanks a lot for taking your time and joining this call. So what we will do in this session is, first 35 minutes, we'll be going through some of the on-demand questions that we have got from various audience members. And Ram will be clarifying those questions. And the last 20 minutes, we'll be covering for all the questions, whatever gets posted in the our Zoom session today. So if anyone have any questions, please post that in the Zoom session here, and we'll be covering those questions in the last 20 minutes. Okay, so coming on to the Q&A session, right? I mean, that is what the focus will be today. So Ram, again, welcome to this session, and it's great having you here. So our first question, right? I mean, if someone is on a H1B, I mean, if they have to start a business or company, right? So what are the various key steps that they have to take? And also if you can cover some of the legal rules and regulations, that will be great. I mean, this is really a question on like what will be the major key steps that someone on a H1 has to take before they can start a business or a company.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, and all the members. This is a common question that we have several clients ask, because we have a lot of H1B clients. You can start a business. The question is a couple of things I will like to make sure they check. One is if somebody has signed any kind of agreement, contract with the employer, they have to consider that aspect of the contract. You know, if there is any conflict of interest or any other limited, that is one consideration. Secondly, people employed in the financial industry, banks or brokerage firms, before they can start a business, they have to get permission from the employer. So that factor has to be considered. Thirdly, the question is what kind of business you want to do, when it comes to conflict of interest. So that is another consideration they may want to take into account, you know. Because here the other question will go as we go along. Of course, you know, if you want to start a business, you want to almost decide what kind of business you're going to be in. Are you going to have employees? And, you know, you want to decide which state you're going to be incorporating. And what are the other consideration you need to consider when you form a corporation? Like you have to make sure you have workers' compensation, liability insurance. Those are the factors that should be considered before you start the business.
Okay, that is great.
Because you have other questions, I will just try to go instead of, you know. Yeah.
So moving on to the next question, Ram, for example, if someone is on H1, right?
Yeah.
And if they have to start a new business, I mean, are there any certain conditions what they can do and they cannot do?
Yes. The primary thing is as H1, you have only one employer generally. Okay, so you want to make sure you do not take any compensation. That is the primary thing. Secondly, you have to make sure you don't show management decisions or show as exclusively involved in the business. There is nothing wrong if you reimburse yourself for expenses incurred, but taking a salary if you're already employed by another H1 is a no-no. And, you know, you can have a board of directors who can make some decision if you want. But compensation is one thing that you should avoid. That's the primary thing. Again, as I said, you can reimburse yourself for expenses. You know, you can buy assets. You know, you can do how to run a business. You probably can take a dividend, but no compensation.
Okay, that's great. And moving on to the next one, for example, if someone is on H1B, and I know there are different types of business corporation types, right? So are there any limitations that what are the type of corporations that they can start and that they cannot start?
See, we normally recommend that you form a C corporation. Yes, there are three types of corporation generally. You have a regular C corp, you have a S corp, and an LLC. If you're going to run a business, it is better to form a C corp. And the primary reason is a S and a LLC is a flow through, which means they don't pay tax at the corporate level. The tax is paid by the stockholder. So if you have an S or a LLC, the income is added to your personal income. So when the USCIS sees it, they say you have a second source of income coming from the business. That will be an issue for the H1B holder. So the best form to choose is a regular C corp where it files its own taxes, pays its own taxes. The income does not flow into the income of the H1B holder. So the preferred corporation is always a C corp when you are, unless you are buying a real estate, which is not an active business, you can do it on a LLC. There is no, I mean, you know, generally you should buy a real estate in a LLC, not on a C corp. And so, I mean, we always recommend C corp. Most lawyers also recommend C corp. Not a S. You cannot be S corp. S corp has to be a resident or a citizen.
So what you're saying is basically the C corp is valid for a H1, unless they want to do real estate where they can float LLC.
Yes,
But unless
that's
you are
correct.
a US citizen or a green card, for those members only, you have to go through S-Corp.
Yes. See, S corp, you have to be green card or even H4 EID is you can do an S corp. Yeah, the difference between S, C, and LLC, the basic differences are how it is taxed and who pays the tax. In an S corp and an LLC, the tax is paid at the stockholder or the member level. A LLC holder is called a member. A S corp is a shareholder. A C corp is a shareholder. So C corp pays its own tax on its income or loss. A S corp LLC pays tax at the stockholder or the member. The basic difference are S corp, generally you must be a citizen or a green card or even H4 EID can be a shareholder in S corp. A C corp, anyone can be a shareholder. LLC, no restriction applies, even a H1B have it. But the only reason is the income flows to the member, so which is risky for a H1B holder. The LLC is the most flexible form of an organization. The reason being LLC can, if it is a one-member LLC, you can file as a sole proprietorship. If you are two members, you can file as a partnership. You can file a LLC as an S corp. You can file an LLC as a C corp. And LLC has a special feature, which is allocation of profits or loss. Let's say somebody is in a high income, is one of the members, and another member is in a low income. So one member can take all the depreciation, the other one gets all the profit, or vice versa, whichever way you want. Or you can allocate any way you want to distribute. If you want a 401k allocated to one person, you can work out different strategies under a LLC. S corp, you are taxed or your income is allocated based on your percentage of ownership. It cannot be changed. So if you have two members, 50-50 owners, and you made $1,000 profit, each one gets 500. Whereas in a LLC, if there are two members, one is they're 50-50 owners, but I can allocate 1,000 full profit to one member and allocate 0 to the other member. There's special allocation available in a LLC. A C corp is taxed at the corporate level. So if you made $1,000, the company pays tax. Current rates are 21%. You pay tax at the corporate level. And if you want to take the money out, you have to pay again a dividend tax. So a C corp has a double taxation feature, which a lot of people don't like, because when you take the money out at the as a dividend, you pay dividend tax, which will be depending upon your tax rate, maybe 0, 15, 20, 20%. But what is good for C corp? A C corp, if somebody wants to raise money by issuing shares, then C corp is an ideal form of entity. You can have different class of stocks. You can have preferred stock, common A, B, C, depending upon the stock features. S corp has only one stock, and S corp cannot have foreign stockholders. A C corp can have foreign stockholders or resident stockholders. That means anyone from India can be a stockholder in C corp. LLC, no restriction except more reporting if you have a foreign partner. Different forms, and if you are making money, the tax has to be withheld at the corporate level and deposited with the IRS. S corp has its own limitation. If you are not taking any compensation, S corp, there is a requirement minimum compensation for the stockholders. If you are not taking compensation, then you will not be able to deduct your healthcare expenses, health insurance, uh, health insurance and other deduction. See, S Corp and LLC gives you Form K1 at the end of the year, which is similar to your 1099. The what it is at K1 is showing you your share of profit, loss, deduction, credits, distribution. All those things is shown on the K1 form. A C Corp, again, as I said, files its own taxes, pays its own taxes, can carry forward the losses. In the S, if there is a loss, the loss flows to the stockholders. LLC, if it is a loss, it goes to the members, and that can be offset against the ordinary income. As far as the H1B is considered, H1B holder is concerned, I mean, it is, you are not a resident for tax purpose. Under the IRS rule, you must be a citizen, which means either a green card holder. So you theoretically cannot be an S Corp shareholder, even though some people do it. But if in an audit something happens, they will disallow and they convert as a C Corp. A C Corp, no restriction on who can be a shareholder. In a LLC also no restrictions. But what happens in a LLC, if H1B is a member, if you have income generating, which is earned income, the first definition of H1 is he has an employer from whom he has the primary income. He's a specialist, so he cannot have a second source of income because LLC, when they have profit, if he shows earned income from LLC, then he is going to have issues with the USCIS. S Corp income is not earned income. That means it is treated generally as a passive income. As far as because what it means that if you want to contribute to a retirement plan, if you have low salary, on the profit, you cannot contribute any 401k on an S Corp profit. Whereas in an LLC profit, you can contribute to your retirement accounts. Okay.
So Ram, that's great. And also going to the next one, right? I think here you have gave a lot of clarity on the various type of incorporations. So I think definitely that will be helpful in the next set of questions. And I think you covered this point. If I'm on a H4 EAD, right? What are the various business corporations can they start? And also if you can explain, right? I mean, is there any difference between a citizen and green card holder versus a H4 EAD? What are the corporations that they can start? But first you can cover on the H4 EAD.
Yes, H4 EAD, I mean, because they are almost in the process of getting the green card, they can be a S Corp shareholder. Okay, they can own all types of corporation, whether it is S, C, or LLC. I mean, in a LLC, one more point, they have two types of members. One is a limited member, one is a general partner. A limited member income, it's classified as unearned income, it's passive income, whereas a general partner income is considered earned income. So I just want to clarify that. So again, going to H4 EAD, they can own any kind of business. She can be a shareholder in S Corp, C Corp, or LLC. I mean, she can take salary from the S Corp, LLC, she can take a draw, distribution. Generally in a LLC, going back to item number 4, LLC, as an LLC member, you're not supposed to take compensation. Under the IRS rules, LLC members, partners don't take salary, they take distribution and they pay estimated taxes on the distribution.
Okay, that is good. And for example, if I, as a new business entrepreneur, right, I'm on H1, with some other company, but if I start a new business, can I transfer my H1 to my new business and just sponsor myself? So is that self-sponsoring of H1, is that allowed?
Yeah. See, we have a lot of clients, they have self-sponsored, they got the H1, everything is fine. What you have to be concerned about, number one, the company has enough working capital or cash to make sure they can pay the preferred wage. So if somebody's wage under the LCA is, let's say, $110,000, you have to demonstrate that the company has the money or the working capital, which is, to support the preferred wage, whatever the preferred wage is, whether 150, 110,000, you can support that operation. That is the first requirement. You want to make sure you have the ability to do that. You can transfer into your H1B. I mean, we have a lot of clients who have done it. There have been no issues. Again, the main condition is you have to make sure you have sufficient working capital and cash flow to support the preferred wage.
How do I identify, Andy, if the company has sufficient funds or not? How do I identify?
How do I identify? Can you repeat the question, sir?
Yeah. So this is Venkatandi.
Yeah.
Actually, if I was before transferring H1, you suggest me to check that company funds, right? So, so suppose I Googled some company name and we don't know what exactly their financial background, right? Is there any way in a website we can go and look into that?
Okay. How do I find the status of the company where you're working? Or
yeah. No,
yeah.
where we are going to transfer something like that. Suppose some new people. Yeah.
So if you have a company, make sure the company has sufficient financial resources. So if you're going to transfer 4 H1s, what is that preferred wage? Let's say each one is paid, let's say $100,000. You should be able to demonstrate that the company has the money to support the wages. Yes, you're going to generate income. Let's say no income is coming. You're transferring the H1. You want to demonstrate that there is sufficient working capital, which is current assets minus current liabilities. Current assets is your receivables, and in a consulting business, that's your. So you want to make sure you have sufficient working capital to support your operation. You can pay the wages. Then there should be no issue. Most of the time the question comes is, hey, demonstrate that you have the working capital or the financial to support the wages. There are 3 conditions generally which the USCIS consider. It's the old AIDS memo. And the first condition is you're making enough profit to show that you can pay the preferred wage. Or you have substantial working capital. Working capital again is current assets minus current liabilities, which is greater than and equal to and which can support the preferred wage. Or you're already paying them salaries and they're already in the payroll and you're paying the preferred wage. If any of these 3 conditions, you will be fine. There should be no issues.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
And also, Ram, I think you covered this question earlier. If I am on an H1, can I start a LLC?
Yeah, LLC you can start. Okay, there is no issue. But the question is, what kind of business?
Oh.
If you are going to do the consulting business itself, what I said, see in a LLC, if you have net income, which is considered earned income in a LLC. So what happens is if it's earned income, you are having two employers. Under H1, you are supposed to have only one employer. So that becomes an issue. Okay, that's why you have to be very careful if you're doing an LLC. Yes, an LLC can elect to be taxed as a C corp. So if you form an LLC and you elect, that's Form 8382, you elect that and say, I'm going to be treated as a C corp, I'm going to file as a C corp, then you will be fine because the income doesn't go into your personal tax. It is taxed as if you are a corporation. In that case, it is fine. If you are buying a real estate under a LLC, I don't see any issue there because LLC real estate income is passive income. It's not active income. And so I don't think there is an issue having a passive income. If you have an LLC where you invest stocks, income from capital gain, they are all passive income. So there are no restrictions on that one. But if you're going to operate your own business under LLC, that could be consequences. There are issues which you should be aware of.
Okay, that's great. And also when it comes to the taxation time, right? If someone is on a H1B or H4 EAD entrepreneurs, I mean, what are the care items that they should be taking, or what are the process steps that they should be taking care of during the tax time?
See, the first thing is you should make sure you file all your taxes on time, or either with extension or without extension. And you should include all source of income. In a lot of people come, they have interest income from a foreign country. It is better if you can disclose interest income, dividend income if you have. If you have your own business, and make sure you report those income, because the files are all centralized, which means the USIS has the same file as the IRS, as the FBI. So the information is the same. So report all income, whatever sources you are getting in your tax return. If you are having a corporation, if you C corp, that none of the income comes to the a personal tax return. If it is a corporation, LLC or LLC, if you have any income or flow through coming from there, I would, it's better to report those income in your tax return, whether it is passive income, dividend income, whether it is capital gain. It is better to show those things. But if you are going to show, from an LLC earned income, that could be trouble. I mean, maybe not, but most of the time when you go for green card, that could be a big issue. And
and also, for example, if a spouse starts a company on H4 EAD, right? Can the other spouse, can they take employment in that company?
Yeah, no, I don't think there is any restriction. We have several clients where the company is in the spouse's name, okay, and they are an employee in that company. There's nothing wrong. They get the H1 transfer from wherever the current employer is. Again, the only consideration is make sure the financials are in good order. You are showing income or your assets enough to pay the preferred wage. And I have not seen any issues. We have several companies like this, and I have not seen any issues. If you have the spouse join as an employee of the spouse's company.
Okay. So next one is related to the buying rental property. Can I open an LLC and run the transactions through LLC if I am on an H1 status?
Yes. See, LLC is the best form to buy a real estate. because of the basic reason, liability protection. I don't think there is any restriction. You can buy the real estate under the LLC. You can run through the rental. See, again, rental income is not earned income, is passive, considered passive income, even if you are a real estate person. And there should be no issue if you run a real estate through an LLC, even if you're a H-1B status. We have not seen any issues. We have several clients who are in the rental real estate business nowadays, all buying properties through an LLC, no issues.
Okay. So moving on to the next one, if the LLC is there under spouse name, right? I mean, are there any benefits that we'll be getting during the time of taxation?
Yes, I mean, let's say the spouse is a single member LLC. Okay, so you're going to file a Schedule C with your 1040. Okay, and you can have either the other spouse as an employee of the company. And why would you do that? See, your health insurance benefit, if the health insurance benefit is in the name of the employed spouse, then you get to deduct health insurance 100% under the LLC, one member LLC. Otherwise, what happens is it goes as a deduction from your income. That's the first thing. As an LLC, if you have kids, grown-up kids, maybe 10 and over, you can pay them compensation. There should be no tax implication for the kids, and you get a tax deduction. That is another advantage of that thing. You can have a retirement plan for the spouse who is employed. There is no restriction. I think this is the best form when you want to take advantage of the LLC, where one of the spouse is employed and you can take most of the benefits under the LLC.
Okay, that's great. For example, if someone is on H1, right, and if they want to do an online business, so are there any restrictions? Because if you are in online business, right, you might be shipping the contents within US or you might be shipping internationally. So are there any restrictions when I do some online business?
Yes, the main thing is, since you're doing online business, you may be selling in different states. Okay, which means you are creating a nexus in that state. I mean, what does that mean? That means you have to now file sale tax, corporate tax in that particular state. So let's say you are selling let's say you are living in New Jersey and you are selling something to California or North Carolina or Georgia. You are creating a nexus. Okay, so of course, see what happened after 2018, the case of Wayfair and the state of South Dakota. The Supreme Court decided that if you have a remote employee, not even doing soliciting, you are creating a nexus. Means you have to pay sale tax, income tax, payroll tax if you have any employees. So if you are selling in different states, that is one of the primary considerations. So if you're selling to one state, let's say you live in, let's say, New Jersey, selling into Georgia, you have to make sure you get the state identification number from the state, the sales tax registration in that state. You may have to get workers' compensation covered in that state. So every state you do, you have to make sure you have registration in the state. Unless you are selling through maybe Amazon, which pays all the taxes, or you do Shopify, they pay all the sale tax, but still you have to make sure you file your income tax if your income is over a certain threshold. Each state has set up threshold over which if you sell to the particular state, you have to make sure you file corporate tax in the particular state. And every state has a different number. So, I mean, depending upon where you're selling most, you have to make sure you don't overlook those facts. So sale tax consideration, income tax consideration, if you have any employees remotely working or doing back office work, that creates employment. So employment taxes, all factors has to be considered. Again, H1B, the income, as we mentioned before, a C Corp is best if he's the owner, if he's going to take the profit. Okay, so those are the major factors when you do online business.
Okay. And for example, if I want to start some restaurant or hotel, right? I mean, can I start, or are there any limitations there?
Now, there is no, see, again, we said H1B, you can start a hotel. Hotel will be what? Rental income, basically real estate.
Yes.
But the thing is, you don't take any compensation from the business. Okay. If you're operating a hotel as an LLC, you may be a limited partner. You make sure you have others who are operating, and you don't take, you be a limited partner, others are general partner. That probably consideration has to be taken into account. Restaurant, again, H1B, you can do it, but do it as a C Corp until such time you get your green card. Because again, if you take as a LLC, or then income flows to you, there are issues with the USCIS because you are having second source of income.
Okay. And the same thing, I think you kind of covered this topic earlier.
Yes.
Start an LLC to invest in the real estate.
Yeah, investment in real estate is a common thing now. Many of our clients, friends, they are investing in LLC, real estate through LLC. Again, as I mentioned, LLC is a passive income. It is not active. So, you don't have to pay. Active means you don't pay self-employment tax, the 15.3% Social Security Medicare tax. If you are not paying that, then, there should be no restriction. You can have LLC because in your K1, it goes as a separate line, rental income or loss. And
So the next one, right, Ram, if I'm an H1, can I do any angel investments in startups?
yes, yeah, absolutely. Again, the startup, generally, they are always a C Corp because they want to issue more and more stock. Okay, so investing as an angel investor, there should be no issues because he is investing, it's not an active participation. As long as there is no compensation from this, if he's employed by someone else, as long as he's not taking compensation from the startup, it should be fine. There should be no restriction on that.
Okay. And also, for example, if someone is a Canadian citizen, right? I mean, is there any difference between a Canadian citizen working in US and also Indian citizen, Indian H1 holder working in US, and how businesses and what type of businesses they can start?
Yes.
Mainly from the Canadian citizenship point of
view.
Yeah.
See, in US, anyone can form a corporation. See, we form corporation from a lot of clients from India, Canada. There is no restriction on forming corporation here. The ideal form always is again C Corp for foreign investors. You can be an LLC. Some situation we do LLCs, but generally it is always a C Corp. The only thing is when you get a federal ID, apply for a federal ID, you need the passport copy. And this generally takes, it used to be 4 days to 10 days. Now it around takes from 30 days to get with the passport to get the federal ID. Some cases you may get a little faster, but generally it takes 30 days. Again, no restriction, whether it's a Canadian citizen or a citizen from different part of the world, you can form a corporation in the US. There are no restrictions. And generally, a C Corp is the ideal form for them, less paperwork, less of an headache.
Okay. And also, earlier you touched on this subject. If you can give some few details, right? What this K1 form is about, and
Yes.
really, I mean, why do we
See,
have to
in a
submit this?
LLC, yes. See, K1 is like a 1099. Let's say compare. 1099, they say, okay, Ram received $5,000 from this company. Okay. So an LLC, how do they transfer the information? Okay, a K1 form, it basically shows the income, expense, deductions, credit, everything is shown in the K1 form, and the taxpayer uses this K1 form for his personal tax return. So if there is an income on line one, there is shows earned income is X, you show the income. If there is a rental income or loss, it shows on a different line, line two. So if you have a tax depreciation deduction, it shows on a different line. Or if you have other expenses, investment, interest expense, it shows on a different line. If you have a QBI, I mean, we didn't talk about QBI, but anyhow, so it shows all the income, credit, foreign tax credit, everything is shown on the K1 form. And that is, it's a transmittal form basically, which you use to complete your tax return. You take all the information from the K1 and enter into your 1040 form.
Okay. And also as a H1B holder, if I start some NPO here in US, right? Can I still support my activities in India, or I need to start any separate NPO in India?
Yeah, I mean, yes, we have several people starting NPO there in India. I mean, you in US also, and they send money to a foreign country, let's say India. Okay, you have to be careful, because when you fill the non-profit, there is a questionnaire that says, are you going to have non-profit in a foreign country? Are you going to send money to a foreign country? Those questions are there. You can contribute to a recognized organization in India. Okay, so I mean, if you give it to an individual, may not be a qualified payment. But if you give it to a qualified, like a church who are registered in India, yes, there should be no issues. You can see, if you want to achieve, let's say you form a non-profit here, and your objective is to support certain activities in India, let's say. So you want to make sure you form a similar corporation, NGO in India, and transfer the money from here to there, which will fulfill your desired objectives. Okay, you don't have to necessarily have an NGO or nonprofit in India, but the money that you are sending in must go to a recognized organization.
Okay, thanks very much, Ram. So next one is related to the, for example, can I bring the 401k and Roth IRA together, invest in the long-term stocks, and can I just manage it under LLC?
Yes, this is a self-directed IRA. Okay, you can do it. There is no restriction, but the conditions are extremely important. You have to be careful. You don't. Okay, you can take the money into a 401k, you can form a LLC, and you can take the money into 401k. If you're combining both 401k and Roth, you have to be careful. You keep track of those investments, because each one has its own treatment. Like a 401k, when you take the money out, it will be taxable, whereas a Roth IRA, when you take the money out, it's not taxable. So you have to make sure the basis and the allocation of the investment is properly segregated. Again, as I said, self-directed IRA, you have to make sure you follow the rules. If you fail to follow the rules, the whole distribution will be treated as income, and you don't want that to happen. Yes, it can be done, but I would say there are companies that do it. I mean, or you can do it yourself. Just make sure you follow all the rules for self-directed IRA. It's nothing. I mean, a lot of people are doing it. As a matter of fact, we have a client just did it yesterday, opening a C Corp and run the LLC under the C Corp. Okay. I mean, is the LLC going to be a one-member LLC or is it going to be a partnership? That is the first question I will ask. Because if it is a one-member LLC, it automatically gets added to the C Corp. So if you have multiple member LLC, then the C Corp gets the K1 from the LLC and the income or loss is included in the C Corp. The question I would ask is, what is the purpose of the C Corp owning the LLC? Okay, is it for real estate? What activity is going to be done under the LLC? What activity is going to be conducted under the C Corp? You have to understand first and see, does it make sense? I would give that consideration initially to make sure you are set up properly for that.
I'm going to, actually the question is from me.
Mm-hmm.
So one piece that we're trying to do is real estate. The other piece is the stocks, which we are already doing it. So the question is, should that stocks be treated as one LLC and the real estate as one LLC and C Corp on top of it as hierarchy wise to control and manage the incomes from both?
See, it is not a good idea to put any appreciating property in a C Corp. The reason is you pay full tax on a C Corp, and when you want to take the money out, you have to take it as distribution, double taxation. It is a bad idea. Like putting a real estate in a C Corp, never a good idea. You always want it under a LLC. Even S Corp probably can get away, but C Corp is never good for putting any appreciated property. Even your stocks and if you're going to trade, it's always better to put it under a LLC or an S Corp. C Corp is probably not the ideal situation. But having said that, you can have multiple LLCs, a LLC owning another LLC, or several LLCs is a better option. But the C Corp, let's say you're going to have your regular business and the LLC is going to have all the distribution, that is not a bad idea. But again, the LLC, let's say, it owns the real estate, and the gain from the sale of real estate goes to C Corp. You're going to be taxed 100%. You have a double taxation issue. That will not be a good approach. Okay, real estate, I will leave it alone. Either you keep it as LLC and LLCs, owning LLCs will be a better option. C Corp, regular operating businesses can be in a C Corp, but any appreciating assets, stocks, bonds, or real estate should not be held under a C Corp. If you can avoid them, that's the best.
Thanks a lot, Ram. I think in the interest of the time, looks like you covered all the on-demand questions. And we also got multiple questions in the chat room. So we have 10 more minutes. I'll be quickly covering some of the key questions. So we got one question from Mahesh Dasari. So the question is, I have a New Jersey State S Corporation. Business-wise, it's still not active, but I file taxes every year. I wanted to convert this to LLC and do some business in next year onwards. So is that possible to convert from the S Corp to LLC?
In New Jersey, they don't allow you to convert S into LLC. Okay. The only option you will have, if you want that, if you still want to keep the S Corp, is form an LLC, merge the S Corp into the LLC. Otherwise, I would start a LLC on its own. New Jersey does not allow. If you are in Delaware, you can convert a LLC into, or S Corp into an LLC, or LLC into a C Corp, S Corp, but not in New Jersey.
Okay. Thanks. And next one is from Krishna Mekala. Can an LLC be on its own without any C Corp or S Corp assignment?
Can a LLC be on its own?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely it can. I mean, is it a multiple member LLC or single member LLC? Yeah, a LLC can be on its own, no issues. Whether it's if it is one member, it becomes a Schedule C or Schedule E, or if it is multi-member, it's a 1065, or you can treat any way you want. C Corp, no issues there.
Okay, thanks. So moving on to the next one, this is from LV Prasad. My wife is on H4 EAD status and she wants to start a LLC. But in future, if we have to get the H4 EAD status extensions, and by any chance if it gets delayed or something, what will happen to this LLC which gets started?
See, the LLC continues. If you want, you can always close it. There is no issues in closing it. But the LLC continues irrespective of your immigration status. There is nothing wrong.
Okay.
But if she loses the EID status, the income earned, you want to be careful how you treat the income earned. Because you cannot have earned income at the time, then you want to be careful. You become a limited partner and get somebody else or convert it as a C Corp at that time, then it doesn't come to your tax return.
Okay. So next one is from Kuchpudi. Can a H4 EAD have a manager managing the LLC and also keep the citizen as a manager?
Yeah, absolutely. Are they going to be employees?
Yeah, they will be the employees of that company.
Yeah, absolutely. There is no issue. Absolutely. You can have any employees. You can have a manager. You can have somebody run the business. There is no restriction on those things. You can have as many employees as you want.
Okay. So next one is from Satya Marasiti. For how many months should we demonstrate the sufficient working capital? Next one is there any supervisor requirement for self-sponsored case?
See, they recommend that you may have a board or someone outside just to, so somebody else has also influence over the company. As a board of directors, you can have a board of directors that will make certain decisions like hiring, firing. And so this way, you don't prove that you are the sole decision maker in the organization. That is recommended by some of the attorneys. And, we have seen both kinds. We have seen people where it's so the same H1B is transferring his H1 to his company, which has gone through, no issues. But sometimes, they recommend you have a board that will oversee the appointment of the employees or hiring, firing of people. You can have that also, but it all comes up with, you have to decide how you want to do it. But yes, absolutely, it is not, it is also recommended that way also.
Okay. Next one is from Dinesh Yenugu. Are there any restrictions on capital gains and taxes while sponsoring H1 for H1B dependent company and H1B independent company?
Are there any restriction on capital gain?
Yeah, capital gains and taxes.
No, there's no restriction on capital gain. You can have any source of income. As a H1, you can contribute to 401k or SEP plan. There's no restriction on those things. So there is no restriction on capital gain on restriction on those things. You can have any amount of capital gain. I mean, a lot of people are playing the stock market now. Absolutely, there should be no restriction on that.
Okay.
Ravi, that question is still, this is Om Prakash. The question is still not clarity. I think you can contact us offline. We can discuss. We can explain to you. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Next one is from Jay Chimita. If someone is on a H1B can we open a trading LLC and do the trading? How does it impact status as there are no employees in this company? And can I take the profits from LLC?
See, the profit is from capital gain and losses. There is no operating business. If you're trading stocks, it is passive income. Okay, you can take the profit. If it is a LLC, it flows through a K1. If you are multiple member, or if you are a single member, it just goes to your Schedule D. So there is no restriction on that one because it's capital gain or interest and dividend income that goes directly to your tax return. If it is a K1 2-member LLC, it again goes through as capital gain or dividend or interest income. There are no restriction. See, the only thing you have to be concerned is, are you generating earned income? I mean, which is subject to self-employment tax. And that is the big question you want to be aware of. That's all. You cannot have two employers making income from two sources. I have one question that keeps popping up from Mr.
Jay, do you have any questions on that, further on that? Maybe you can elaborate, Jay Chimta. I think, there's a lot of, Ramji, a lot of people are traders, that they're trying to be traders here. So They want to start the investment LLC. I think Jay will take further. Sorry, Ravi, to interrupt you.
Sure.
Jay, maybe you can elaborate on that question so that, we have more clarity.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Thank you. So this is a common question which we get it in our forum, Ramji.
Yes.
Most of our people here are IT folks who are on H1B, but we do actively do trading.
Yes.
And trading is another passive income which we are earning right now, which adds to our personal taxes. So to minimize the taxes, there are like certain things like wash sale rule, which we cannot be accomplished when we are doing in the personal taxes.
Yes.
So can we open a trading LLC? Means a LLC which does only specifically on this kind of investments. It can be pre-IPOs, it can be trading, or it can be anything else. But it's me myself operating the business to choose what kind of stocks I need to buy or what kind of stocks do I need to sell. Right.
Correct.
By the end of the year, when I make profits, it's not paying to anyone, but it's the profits which came out of the LLC.
Yes.
So in this case, how do I handle? Is it good to take the profits from the LLC and add it to my personal taxes when I file my personal taxes, or how is it impact my status to H1B status? This is a quite common question which we get in our forum.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to. The first thing is a trader. Okay. See, we have a lot of clients who do massive amount of trading. We put him as a trader. We put him as on Schedule C, self-employed business. A trader income is not subject to self-employment tax. That means you are not going to pay FICA or Medicare on the net income. Okay. A trader, when I put as a trader, the wash loss, the rule does not apply. Okay. So I take the total sale, total cost, no gain or loss. We don't care about wash loss. Okay. The same thing will apply to you if you are doing it under LLC, 1-member LLC. It goes as what? Schedule C. Because if you have 2 members, it's a K1. Otherwise, it's a Schedule C. Okay. So you put it there and say you are a trader. Okay. And make sure you tell whoever is doing the return, or you do it by yourself, make sure there is a box which says not subject to self-employment tax. Of course, on the trading income, if you make money, you can contribute to 401k or SEP. You are allowed to do that, but you don't have to pay self-employment tax. So, I mean, you always have a justification, even though you call yourself a trader, but your main source of income is a salary income. Okay.
Okay.
So you should be able to get away with that thing because it is basically investment activity.
Perfect. Thank you. So to add on top of it, let's have an assumption that I withdraw a salary of around 200K
Yes.
and I make a profit of around 200K in my stocks,
Yes.
right? If I do it in my personal portfolio, I will end up paying around 40% tax on my total, whatever I make, right?
Yes.
But if I do it through LLC, so if it's a 200K which I made profit through LLC, does it comes under 20% taxation? Will I be able to leverage any tax benefits out of it?
No. See, LLC, automatically the income or loss is included in your personal tax return. Okay. This comes as a Schedule C, as a trader income. So it will be subject to your marginal tax rate. Whatever your tax rate, it will be added to the tax rate. So there is no, I mean, the only thing you want to consider is if you are paying any margin interest, you deduct it from that income, or any other expense you incur for the trading activities. Let's say you subscribe to Motley Fools or Wall Street Journal, any of those things you can deduct. Those are ordinary and necessary expense. Maybe, if you go to the brokerage firm, talk to them, or you subscribe to other subscription, you can deduct all those expenses. Or you buy computers so you can do the trading. Maybe that's an ordinary expense you can deduct. Those expenses you can claim, but the net income will be added to your other income. And you can't say, I don't want to show the LLC income, I'll keep it in the company. That doesn't work. It automatically flows to your other income.
So Ramji, your voice is breaking. I think,
Okay,
is it
sorry.
everyone? Ravi?
Yeah, Om, I think we can.
Ravi, can you interfere?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just doing a
Hello?
time check. So we'll just take the last question, and what we will do is, Ramji, looks like there is still a lot of questions coming up. So I'll check with you and clarify to the folks. Okay. So the last question is from Srinivas Bogireddy. I'm a H-1B visa holder and I want to start a C Corp. So can I open the bank account on my name? And also, should I disclose my name when I sign off on the documents to vendors? Because I think, are there any documentation which will go to the USCS? So the question there is, can I still show my name and sign my name?
You can open a bank account. There is nothing wrong. The only restriction is you don't take a salary compensation. You can operate a bank account, no issues. You don't take any compensation. I mean, if you want to put somebody else in, that's fine, but you can open a bank account. There should be no restriction. I don't think this information will go to the USCS, but nowadays every information is available to everyone. So I would not worry about it. But there's nothing wrong if you open a bank account. I have not heard anything on that aspect.
Okay.
But isn't signing documents come as active participation when you have to be passive on the H1?
It doesn't come, signing a bank does not mean active participation. I can appoint someone to sign my checks. It's not active participation. Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, you give authority to someone to sign my checks. That may not count as active participation. I mean, the other factors has to be considered also.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Ram, thanks a lot. And this has been a great session. So, but still, as the session is going on, we keep getting a lot of questions.
They can do one thing. They can forward it to my email. I will respond to all of them.
Yeah. So what we will do, Ram, is from the best team, we captured all the unanswered questions here. So we'll capture that and send it to your email in a single shot, and we'll get it clarified from you, and we will share that across with all the best members. Okay.
Sure, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah. And thanks a lot. And also thanks a lot for everyone for joining this call. It has been a great session, Ram and team, and appreciate all your time, Ram. And
Sir, sorry.
Ravi, one question before you end the call. This Ram, a lot of people, they want to use your services. How do they approach you, and what are the different kind of services? If we can give a small snapshot of your services,
Yes,
that
sir.
would be great.
They
As
can-
conclusion, Ravi, sorry. Continue.
They
Ravi,
can-
continue,
సార్
please.
ఆల్సో ఒక్కసారి ఆయనది కాంటాక్ట్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ స్లైడ్ ఒకసారి పెడతారా దీని మీద?
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
and also we will share with everybody his contact information and everything. Okay, but Ram, you can just cover what.
Yes,
was
you
asking
can
about.
forward your questions or query to pkram@ramassociate.us. My cell number is 609-306-9092. You can always call me. But if you send me email, we will definitely respond to all the emails. No issues. Any other, I see so many questions pop up here, but I'll try to see, they can forward it to me. I will respond to them. By Monday, I will have all the questions answered.
Okay. Yeah, and also I'm just sharing the desktop here, right? The key slide, the key site here is ramassociates.cpa, and it has like.
Oh, my email is not here. My email is at the bottom.
Yeah, email, yeah.
pkram@ramassociate.us.
Yeah, that is right. And also we have the.
This is the main number. If they call, they will always connect me.
Okay.
My extension is 1024, but they can call me in my cell. I gave you my cell. You can call me in my cell. Absolutely no issue.
Okay.
Ram, it's going to be a lot of calls, so you have to be careful. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hope you
Ram,
have
I
asked
think-
to take care of.
No problem, because thank you very much. Thank you for, we'll be happy to help everyone,
Yeah, definitely, Ram. I mean, that's what we are really looking for here. I mean, to help the members who are very much interested in starting their business or continuing their business, right? Especially for the folks on H1 and H4B.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. No problem. Anytime, any question, please do not hesitate. Just send it to us. We'll be very happy to respond to you immediately.
Okay, okay. So I think that said, we can close the call. Thanks a lot again, Ram and everyone, and all the participants for all your energy and questions. Get each one of your question answered through Ram. Okay, so have a good rest of the day and
Thank you, sir.
Halloween.
Please join for fire session in another 15.
Yeah, and also, yeah, for